Everyone, we'll call the Public Safety Committee to order. Ask for approval of the last meeting's minutes. Motion by Supervisor Gerard. We have a second. Supervisor Simpson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and this time I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Supervisor Wood. We only have a single item on for today unless you have additional questions. The first request is a resolution for us to apply for the FY 2014 Hazardous Materials Emergency Planning Grant. It's generally in the range of $10,000. If you have any questions on that, please direct them to Amy. She's the one that does the application for this one.
All right, motion by Supervisor Taylor. Do we have a second? Supervisor Gerard. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that one carries. Anything else for emergency services this morning?
Not at this point unless you have questions for me.
Okay.
It's not me. We're set, thank you.
Okay,
Have a good
all right.
holiday.
Thank you.
Was that quick enough?
quick.
Good.
I answered all my questions in our last round.
See?
Hi, Amy.
A new agenda for me.
Now you
Is
get
that
to
what it
deal
is?
with this guy.
We'll go with that, Paul. We'll say yes.
You already got copies.
You have a good Thanksgiving.
It was good. It was good. Busy but good.
Yeah, a foot of snow always makes things interesting. Was it 14?
14 inches.
We ended up staying over in Pennsylvania.
I read it on that.
Well, I had one
We
update.
were 4 hours away, so it wasn't bad.
Different?
Well, I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, yeah.
I got the original here for,
Yeah, the roads were getting pretty nasty.
the original there. Did you get the
That you
update?
No, I didn't get the update.
Just, addition on that.
Charge?
Like
Wasn't that the?
You were supposed to stand, right?
That was like an ego problem.
Okay. Okay, never mind, but
Sheriff is here.
I did not.
I was not expecting that to be your text
Yeah, I don't
Thank
need
you.
it.
I don't need an announcement.
You're on here.
I left my ringtone on.
Look at that. I got two left, guys. Pretty good, huh? Look at that. It's like a chicken, you got one.
My wife used to have Barry Manilow on hers, I lost my phone. Like,
all right.
The funniest one was Travis's other guy.
Hey, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
We can go ahead, I think, with the action agenda.
Okay, number one is request a resolution for a new contract with LexisNexis for mandated law library services for the inmates. The cost of the contract for the following years, as you see, it goes down from $40,800 down to $38,400 over the next 3 years. We were told the reason for the decrease is we've been a customer of theirs for a long time and they want to pass it along to us, so. You don't see that very often, but it's nice to come up.
Yes. All right, do we have a motion to bring this before Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Brock? Any further discussion?
I just have a quick
Supervisor Stieber?
question. Sheriff, I know we've talked about this before in terms of the cost of LexisNexis, and it's a significant cost, but are there any other, correctional facilities using an alternative law library other than LexisNexis?
Yes, we did go window shopping this year. Most other places have an internet-based system that poses a threat to the security of the facility. And we get around the LexisNexis and now we're now actually in the World Wide Web sniffing around. In addition to that, people have a limited access type carts that move around the facility, but then they subsidize interaction and staff costs to look up inmates' legal research. These are kiosks that are wall mounted. It takes personnel right out of the system and the individuals do their own legal research instead of having officers do it for them.
During the tour, you showed us that, and it was great to see it. I just still always am in a sticker shock when we look at $40,000 for LexisNexis when, you know, it's like I know there's so many law enforcement agencies that can't afford LexisNexis, but we
can afford them for inmates now.
Well, we can afford them for inmates, but
inmates,
not for
absolutely.
probation or some of our other.
We can also afford all their health care. Remember that, Rachel.
In addition to this system, they're updated quarterly, so I know the cost of actually having law books on a shelf and the annual cost of those updates is enormous, which I believe Martin can probably attest to.
No, I'm aware of that. I just wondered if there was any way to reduce that cost.
Supervisor Taylor?
Is that a federal or state requirement?
It's a state requirement.
Can we share the subscription, the membership with some of our local PDs and our probation with LexisNexis?
Well, this system is a closed system, it's in-house, it's run for a server that's directly inside of our facility. It doesn't reach out outside of the building.
Well, I hear your point, Rachel, certainly that's a political issue, that's certainly something, because you gotta remember, Glens Falls brings a lot of prisoners up here, and, you know, that's just a whole, I don't even think you'd wanna go there, but you could certainly go to the state police and say, hey, you're bringing prisoners here
Oh.
too, and,
Yeah.
you know, do you wanna give us some money towards that?
You actually misunderstood what I said, although that's a nice concept. I meant, is there a way to give complimentary access to LexisNexis?
Oh, I see.
To police departments and probation that can't afford in their annual budgets to have access to LexisNexis?
Well, I suppose they could, but they'd have to come in the jail to do it, right, Mike?
That's good, what
Oh.
kind of inmate do
So
that.
there's no way to do it remotely?
Well, you know, that's an interesting question.
Cause I know when we had it federally, we could do it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the
Yeah, no,
login, we
yeah.
did that federally, you know, we were able to have it, but it's such an expensive program that if we're gonna pay for it for inmates, let's pay for it, you know, if we've already got the membership, maybe it's as easy as, you know, the access on.
I don't know that, I certainly.
The access level might be different too, because
Right.
there's specific stuff that we have to provide for
Right.
the inmates. I don't know what law enforcement or probation would entail, what they would need for access.
All I'm saying is, can we get our biggest bang for our buck here? If we're gonna pay for it for inmates, is there a way that we could extend that opportunity to some other departments within Warren County who can't afford it?
Who would use it? Martin, would your people use it?
Well,
LexisNexis?
we do,
Pay for it?
we do.
How much do you pay a year for it? Do you have an idea?
It's a considerable amount. We could-
10,000, 5,000?
I don't know that it's that much. But we have a subscription. I think the DSS attorneys may have a subscription.
And probably the district attorney?
District attorney would have a subscription. We have a plan. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you what we pay, but it's, I mean, it's something that we could look into. I mean, it's enormously convenient for us just to, you know, particularly with the assistant county attorney, if I need something looked up, it's very convenient to have it right there. Am I hearing that we would go over to the sheriff's office?
Well, no, you know, I don't know, I hear what she's saying, she's talking about sign-ins, in other words, could I give the county attorney and the county district attorney our sign-ins that we give our inmates, however they do it to get on? We're paying $40,000 a year anyway, you use it,
I guess we'd have to,
I don't
we'd
know that.
probably
Is
have
that
to.
what you're asking,
we'd
Rachel?
probably
I'm
have to,
saying,
we'd
you know,
probably have to reach out to our LexisNexis representative and see what they say about that.
It just seems like we have all, you know, maybe you're right, they're different levels, but maybe we could look at a consolidation of all of them and then extend that access to probation. I believe they don't have it. And also maybe, you know, if we're paying one lump sum, maybe we can get some of these other little PDs or whomever in that can't afford it. Because as you mentioned, it's a great tool, both for prosecutors, probation, and law enforcement. But that's a lot of money, and I know we have to pay it, but maybe there's a way of consolidating and getting a bigger bang for the buck.
I'll look into it, that's not a
Thank
bad
you.
idea, I'll take a look.
Thank you, Sheriff, we appreciate that. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, on to number B.
Request whether to enter an agreement with BOCES for providing clinical experience to students for career day extensions. This is something we've done for a long time, but Martin felt that we needed to bring it to the committee. If you wanna expound on that a little bit, Martin?
Well, yeah, thanks, Sheriff, and
Certainly.
if, this is something, as I understand it, the Sheriff's Office has done for some time. And Sheriff, is this a career day
Yes.
where students who have identified that they may be interested in law enforcement come to the Sheriff's Office for a day or a portion of a day? This isn't truly an internship or a clinical experience, correct?
Yeah, and it's just usually they come to communications and spend the morning there seeing how things operate.
Okay.
They're usually, going into the professional field, and they're all high school students.
Because I wanted to distinguish this from an internship program, because if it's truly an internship program, then as we know, the internship programs go through the county administrator's office in cooperation with the department head, and that's something different. For example, I know that Sean and the sheriff are working on a new internship program through BOCES with the New Visions program, which are their, a number of their students have indicated a desire to come to your office and actually have a sort of a working internship program, and that's out there, that is going to have to be reviewed by your committee eventually.
This is New Vision, this is something we've been doing.
But this is not where this is not where the intern comes 3 days a week, 4 days a week for
No.
3 or 4 hours a day. This is one time.
One person one day,
Okay.
and another person another day, yes.
Because the way that this is set up, the agreement that BOCES sent you, Sheriff, or, that, was looked at apparently, Officer Jeffords, was sent to Officer Jeffords, is more of an internship clinical type agreement that it would be, is more than just career days. So I think that, and I need to touch base with you on this, but as I was looking at this, this is more of an internship agreement than a career day. I think what you should do is, we should say, let's get authority to enter into an agreement with BOCES for a career day extension, but that's not this agreement. This agreement that they presented is an internship, clinical experience internship.
Well, I believe that's the one they've been doing every year, Mark.
I thought that this was the first year, Sheriff, that we've ever been asked to sign an agreement by BOCES for our career extension.
I don't know that, I'd have to check with Larry, I've never
Okay.
signed anything.
Okay.
But if you notice, Larry signed this one, and it came to me after the
Right.
fact, so I mean, I just wanna do it right, so we're.
Right. So I think what my recommendation is to get authority for an agreement with BOCES to allow for a career day extension agreement between your office and BOCES.
But if it's an extension and we didn't have it to begin with, shouldn't we start out at, just start from scratch and do it as an internship, or no? I don't know that we've had this agreement before, this is the first time I recall seeing it.
I don't think this is a career day agreement. I think this is an internship agreement.
So should we just ask the committee for a internship with New Visions?
We can do that if you'd like.
I mean, I just wanna do it right.
We can do that if you'd like.
It's a good program, they've
Right.
been doing it, we've been doing it wrong up until now, let's do it right.
We can do that if you'd like. And they provide insurance certificates, it's BOCES, they do it right. They, you know, they cooperate and they give us everything that we asked for. But it was just my thought that this ought to be formalized at the committee level.
Okay, so I would say, that we do it as an internship, the way that we're supposed to, that you recommended, Mark.
Okay. If that's the case, if it's an internship, then it has to go through the resolution process with the county administrator to get that approved.
I think what we're, maybe I got lost in the middle. I think what we're looking for is an agreement to have a career day with, between BOCES and the sheriffs, as opposed to an internship contract, which would be something entirely different. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. So what we would be looking for in a motion today would be to authorize an agreement contingent on the county attorney's approval, so that there can be an agreement between the sheriff's office and BOCES to have this career day experience.
Okay.
Does that seem good to everybody? All right, I have a motion by Supervisor Gerard. Do we have a second? Supervisor Seaver, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Sorry to make it so complicated,
No, that's
I wanna
okay.
do it right.
I think we're getting there.
And the last one is, request, resolution to transfer, funds on listed attachment 3. This is the end of the year transferring of funds, to make our budget whole. And it's all in the budget, we don't have to go to contingency.
All right, do we have a motion for the transfers? Supervisor Taylor, do we have a second? Out there, Supervisor Simpson, thank you. Any discussion on the transfers? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
There's no pending, but, topics for discussion, we're filling, as I've told the committee, that to keep you updated on the corrections positions. We've had, 2 people resign, they've gone on, one, I believe, went to become a police officer, and one went to state doc, so we need to fill those, and, it's gonna be a savings to the budget of about $14,259.
Very good. All right, anything else for the sheriff this morning? If not, all right, thank you very much, sir.
And just to let you know that sometime in the spring too, I wanna bring the committee up to, I wanna wait till all the numbers come in,
Mhm.
but I believe, the numbers are gonna be really good as far as, with our new correctional medical care, that, with the overtime, with the hospital stays. I wanna get an accurate number so I can report them, what we did for this year. Hopefully it'll continue.
I think
Thank
that would
you.
be very useful. Thank you, Sheriff.
Last savings is because we're filling at a base salary.
We approve them once and we're good.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna pull a Jean.
No, I just gave it. We need one more.
We need one more down there for Rachel too. We need a second. Rachel needs one. All right.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I don't really have a lot. I just thought I haven't been here in a while, and I thought I'd bring kind of everybody up to date as to where we are budget-wise, permit-wise. As far as the budget goes, on the first page, I guess probably one of the biggest things to point out in the salary section, because of holding off on filling positions, we're gonna have a pretty substantial amount of money left over in the part-time salary. So, you know, by the time we get to the end of the year, I'm thinking that should be $10 or $12, maybe $14,000 that won't be used. Everything else is pretty much right on track where it should be. So I guess if anybody has any questions on as far as the budget goes.
We're okay?
As far as the next page, you're gonna find some fire safety numbers in there. Actually giving you a comparison between 2014 and 2013. So you can kind of see where we're at. I believe with what we're looking at for the last quarter, we may be slightly higher in numbers, but not substantially. It's gonna be, they've kind of fallen right into this, about that amount of numbers for the last few years, so.
Okay.
I think we're gonna be right there again this year, maybe again slightly higher. I've given you 3 months worth of activity reports. For the actual building permit side. August, September, and October. After this was done up, I went back and redid numbers. So far, where we were at last week, we were at 878 permits issued. That included everything. Last year at that date, we were at 914, so we're about 3%, 4% down in permit numbers, but that's not a huge number, and we're about 3% behind in revenues as compared to last year. A couple things to note. Again, I looked at the numbers after this report was done. We did a couple more transmittals. We only lack $4,635 to make our budgeted revenues for the remainder of December. So hopefully if things go along as they have been, we should be $3,000 or $4,000 above budgeted revenue.
We like to hear that. That's good.
Training, everybody so far is up to date on their training for the year, so we should be all, certified with our 24-hour food service training. That's something that has to be done yearly. Beyond that, I really don't have anything else.
Okay.
We talked about, when I was here in the spring, we talked about some fee schedule changes. I have not done a lot of work with still restructuring, just tweaking things in the office. I haven't done a lot of research on it. So I'm gonna probably need another couple of months. It's kind of going into our slow time of year.
Sure.
I can reach out to a lot more, municipalities and get some better numbers for you to do some comparisons with, and, try to come back with those at the same February meeting, so,
Okay.
that's pretty much all I have.
Does anybody have anything else for Charlie? All right, thank you very much. Else for public safety this morning? No, I was just asking if anybody else had anything for public safety. Hearing nothing, a motion to adjourn? Motion by Supervisor Gerard, seconded by Supervisor Brock. All those in favor? All right, thank you.